Chapter 15. A stone staircase led from the open bookcase into a dark, damp passageway. It reminded Snake of the dungeons in the medieval Scottish castles he had toured many years earlier. Merrill rubbed her arms and shivered. "It's cold down here." "Yeah, you should have worn a sweater." "Sorry, Dad. I left it at home." They followed the passage for several feet until the stonework ended. From that point forward, the walls, ground, and ceiling became a tunnel of natural rock. "It's an underground cavern," Merrill observed. The light was minimal. Snake flicked on the penlight on the shoulder of his suit, and it provided adequate illumination for them to see where they were going. The passageway twisted and turned, and at one point branched in two directions. The left tunnel was decidedly smaller. "Which way do we go?" she asked. As if in answer, several howls filtered through the tunnels. "Wolves?" Snake listened and answered. "No, wolf dogs. Half wolf, half husky." "How do you know so much?" "I ride dog sleds. I'm a musher." "Are wolf dogs dangerous?" "They can be. They're not tame, if that's what you mean." She took a deep breath. "Okay, why don't I take the right fork? You can take the left. If it turns out that one of these is a dead end, we'll contact each other by codec and meet back here. How's that?" "Sounds like a plan." Snake wasn't comfortable letting her go alone, but she had handled herself fairly well so far. He couldn't worry about her. He had a job to do, and no matter how much he was beginning to like the girl, he wasn't about to let her interfere with the mission. He ducked his head and moved into the tunnel with the lowest ceiling. It was a pain having to bend at the waist and walk at the same time, but he could take it. The tunnel continued in a maze of twisty passages, all alike, and for a moment Snake feared he might get lost or stuck. To add to his anxiety, after 100 feet or so, the passageway grew narrower and the ceiling dropped. He would have to crawl. The built-in knee pads in his suit were helpful. He moved along the cold, wet rock for nearly 10 minutes, until finally the tunnel began to expand. A few more feet and he could stand once again. Eventually the passageway opened up into a large cave with a very high ceiling. Stalactites dripped cold water, and there were puddles all over the cavern floor. In some portions, the ice on the walls had melted, and there was soft mud mixed with rock on the ground. He'd have to watch his step. Another wolf howl was much closer than before. Snake figured the animal was probably somewhere in the cave. He punched Merrill's frequency on the codec. "Merrill." "Yeah?" "How are you doing?" "I'm in a large cavern." "Me too. It's probably the same one. Let's see if we can meet up at the north end. Careful, there may be wolf dogs in here." "Okay." He signed off and continued moving forward. At one point he came to a large boulder that at one time had been part of the ceiling. He skirted it and came upon not one wolf dog, but a pack of 4. Jesus. The animals growled, and their eyes glowed red in the dark cave. The two in front bared their fangs. One barked. "Easy, doggies." He held out his hands, palms up, the way one was supposed to do. Of course, that usually worked only when dogs were somewhat domesticated. These animals were wild and huge, weighing 120 pounds or more each. They could tear the flesh off a man in seconds. The two in front crept forward, their growls intensifying. Snake didn't want to kill them, but would if he had to. But there was another alternative. He slowly opened the pouch and removed a flashbang grenade, which was another name for a stun grenade. Moving with the speed of a snail and keeping his legs perfectly still, he brought the grenade to his mouth, pulled the pin with his teeth, and counted to 4. He then tossed the explosive at the pack and immediately crouched and covered his head. The grenade's highly charged magnesium exploded, causing a flash that would knock out most animals and humans. Snake waited a few seconds and then looked to see what the damage was. All 4 wolf dogs were lying on the ground. He approached them cautiously, put a hand on the leader's pelt, and felt him breathing. They were all still alive. Satisfied, Snake moved on. "Hey!" It was Merrill up ahead. "What happened?" She was holding something in her arms. "Had to put some wolf dogs to Betty by." Snake noted that she was carrying a live wolf dog puppy. "Are you hurt?" Merrill asked. "No. Where did you find that?" "He was wandering around over there, looking for his mommy. Isn't that cute?" "I think I just put his mommy to sleep. Put him over there with the rest of them. We don't have time to rescue animals." "I thought you liked dogs." "I do, when I'm at home and not in the middle of a mission." Okay. She ran over to the sleeping pack of animals and let the puppy loose. He quickly ran to one of the wolf dogs, sat down beside her, and began to lick his mom's pelt. "He'll be fine. Come on. Look, I see a way out of here. I think." Snake pointed to a large opening in the cave's northern wall. "Sounds good to me." When they emerged from the cavern, the pair found themselves in a man-made underground passage with a high ceiling and a floor made of steel. There were shallow alcoves in the walls every 10 feet. Snake figured the tunnel was about 50 yards long. At the end was the base of the first communication tower. They could see the lower 2 stories of what appeared to be a slender but massive structure that protruded up through the ceiling and extended above the surface. It was made of steel latticework with crisscross patterns. Snake had studied a little architecture in his lifetime. It was an essential subject for anyone who wanted to be adept at infiltrating buildings, and the design of the tower reminded him of the work of the Chinese architect I.M. Pei. "How tall are the towers?" Snake asked. "I'm not sure. 20, 30 stories?" "I hope the elevators work." She started to move forward, but he grabbed her arm. "Wait! Let me check something." He pulled out the mine detector and switched it on. 3 claymores lay under the steel, directly in front of them. "I think I just saved your life again," he said. Merrill's eyes widened. "Thanks. Is that all there is? Just 3? "Looks that way." She studied the layout on the detector's monitor. "Okay, I'll lead." With the delicate poise that only a female could possess, Merrill lightly moved between the mine's locations and stood on the other side. "What are you waiting for?" He'd been enjoying watching her form, but simply grinned in response. She made a face and put her hands on her hips, but Snake knew she didn't mind the attention. He quickly followed in her footsteps and sidestepped the danger. They continued walking forward through the tunnel. The silence was eerie, but they instinctually stopped talking because the echo effect was strong within the passage. Even their footsteps, as lightly as they attempted to step, tended to reverberate. When they made it to the halfway mark, Snake thought he saw the flash of a red light. He blinked and looked at Merrill. Sure enough, there was a red dot on her chest between her breasts. It was a laser sight. "Merrill!" "What is it?" "Get down!" He pushed her out of the way, but it was too late. The shot resounded through the passage, and a red flower of blood spurted on her left shoulder. She screamed in pain, but didn't realize she'd been shot. Snake started to tackle her, but the sniper fired another round, hitting her in the side, just above the waist. This time, she went down for the count. Another bullet hit the metal floor between Snake and his fallen companion, forcing him to retreat and take cover in one of the alcoves on the side. "Merrill!" His companion lay behind him about 20 feet away, in plain view of the sniper. She had dropped her Desert Eagle a few feet from her, and the PSG-1 sniper rifle also lay at her side. Merrill attempted to pick up the rifle, but couldn't manage it. Instead, she reached for the handgun with her good arm, but it was about a foot too far away. She gritted her teeth and stretched for the piece, but another shot from the sniper dented the metal floor inches from her fingers. "Snake! Leave me and run!" "Merrill!" Snake heard more disappointment than pain in her voice. "I guess I'm a rookie after all." "Don't worry, Merrill. It's me they want." "I know. It's the oldest trick in the book. The sniper's using me for bait to lure you out." Snake cursed to himself. He'd been afraid this would happen. "Shoot me, Snake!" she cried. "No!" "I promised I wouldn't slow you down." "Don't move." "I can still help. I want to help you." "Quiet down. Save your strength." She was crying now. "I was a fool. I wanted to be a soldier. Snake, please, save yourself. Go on living. And don't give up on people." He knew she was right. There was nothing he could do for her. Even if he attempted to drag her to cover, the sniper would pick him off. "Get out of here!" she screamed. "Just don't forget me." Snake eyed the sniper rifle at Merrill's side. If he could get hold of it, he might have a fighting chance. "Snake?" It was Campbell on the codec. "Yeah. It's a trap. A sniper's trick to lure you out. If you go to help Merrill, you'll be picked off. Don't do it." Snake could hear the pain in the colonel's voice. This was his niece he was talking about. "I know that, Colonel, but I can't just leave her there." So much for not worrying about her and not letting her interfere with the mission. Dr. Hunter spoke up. "It must be Sniper Wolf, Foxhound's best shooter." "Don't snipers usually work in pairs?" "Yes, but not her. I know her. She can wait for hours, days, or weeks. It doesn't matter to her. She's just watching and waiting for you to expose yourself." "Maybe so, but Merrill can't hold out that long." "Snake, can you see Wolf from where you are?" Naomi asked. "I think she's on the second floor of the tower. Between here and there, there's no place to hide." Campbell's voice shook. "If Wolf's in the communication tower, then she can see you perfectly. It's the classic sniper's position. At this distance, you won't be able to hit her with a standard weapon." "Colonel, take it easy," Snake said. "Merrill's got a sniper rifle. I'm going to save her, no matter what it takes." The former Foxhound leader was breathing hard, but Snake's words seemed to calm him down a little. "Okay, thanks." Snake heard Naomi Hunter make a noise. "Naomi, did you say something?" "Nothing," the doctor replied. "I'm just surprised you're willing to sacrifice yourself. You've got the genes of a soldier, not a savior." "You trying to say I'm only interested in saving my own skin?" "I wouldn't go that far, but—" "I don't know what the hell my genes look like, and I don't care. I operate on instinct. I'll save Merrill. I don't need an excuse. And I'm not doing it for someone else either. I'll save Merrill for myself. Colonel, don't worry.
Snake, I didn't mean... I'm sorry, Dr. Hunter said. I understand.
He signed off and studied the distance between himself and the sniper rifle. The old cliché, so near yet so far, certainly applied. Snake thought about what he had in his inventory that could help. The flashbang. He had one left in his pocket. The blast it created just might be enough to mask what he was doing temporarily. The sniper wouldn't be able to target him through a brief, bright blaze. It was his only hope. He retrieved the grenade and calculated where the best place to throw it would be. As long as it covered the area in front of Merrill, he should be okay. Without wasting another second, he pulled the pin, tossed it 20 feet into the passageway, and prepared to make his move. He anticipated the explosion and emerged from behind cover. He hoped Sniper Wolf would attempt to shoot him, but then be blinded by the flash. The flashbang grenade went off as desired, thrusting a wave of hot breath at Snake as he ran for Merrill's position. The blast knocked him over, but he was careful not to look at the brightness of the momentary blaze. If he hadn't been expecting the detonation, he would have been stunned. As it was, he had to crawl to Merrill. He took a second to examine her face. She was unconscious. Snake squeezed her hand, grabbed the PSG-1, and stood, then ran to the opposite side of the passageway and took cover in an alcove. He checked that the magazine was full with 6 rounds and 1 in the chamber, lay prone on the ground, and carefully exposed the rifle, his arms, and his head.
Snake, this is Nastasha.
Snake glanced at the monitor on his codec. I can't chat right now, Nastasha. I'm kind of busy.
The colonel asked me to advise you. You have a PSG-1. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was Merrill's.
Excellent. It is one of the best sniper rifles in the world. It is accurate enough to shoot cleanly through a 2.5 centimeter square from a distance of 100 meters. And it is semi-automatic, unlike other sniper rifles. Just remember, Snake, the slightest tremble can make you miss your target by inches. Try to keep your hands as still as possible.
Thanks, Nastasha. You just reminded me. I have some diazepam with me. That'll steady the nerves.
Dr. Hunter interrupted. I was going to suggest that too.
Snake found the pillbox in his belt and took the fast-acting drug that produced a calming effect on subjects. Normally, it would take at least 20 minutes for it to be effective, but Foxhound's medical department had come up with a sublingual tablet that dissolved and acted in seconds. A minute later, he was ready. Come on, bitch. Show me where you are. Sniper Wolf's laser sight pinpointed his forehead. Snake saw the tiny red dot originating on the tower's 2nd floor, just as he had suspected. Before the woman had a chance to fire, he squeezed the PSG-1's trigger. The empty casing ejected hard and high, landing nearly 10 feet from him. This was considered an advantage because it lessened the enemy's ability to locate the shooter's position. Through the telescopic sight, which was accurate up to 600 meters, Snake spotted a figure moving from one metal support to another. He caught her in the crosshairs and fired again. The woman jerked, but he wasn't sure if he had hit her. Nevertheless, this gave him time to jump up and run closer. Snake darted into the passageway and ran in an erratic pattern. The sniper fired twice, hitting the floor at his feet. He took refuge in another alcove, but now he was at least 20 yards closer to the tower. Although it made him an easier target for Sniper Wolf, it also made her a less difficult shot for him. 3 rounds battered the wall at the edge of the alcove, reminding him that he couldn't be careless when peering out to shoot. He needed another diversion, so he pulled out a chaff grenade.
It wouldn't do much except perhaps make her blink a couple of times, but that might be enough for him to get in a shot or two. Snake pulled the pin and tossed it into the air in the middle of the passageway. It went off in its singular way without creating much of a blast. However, Snake simultaneously leaned out of the alcove, picked up the figure in the crosshairs, and squeezed the trigger. He could have sworn he heard the woman shout in pain. Snake returned to the alcove and waited a few seconds before attempting to take a look. He scanned the visible floors on the tower with the rifle's telescopic sight and didn't see a soul. It would be best to make sure by securing the area at the base of the tower and then deal with getting Merrill some medical attention. He slung the rifle over his shoulder and ran to the structure. With the sockum in hand, he checked the perimeter of the base and the metal stairs that led to the second floor balcony. There were a few drops of fresh blood on the steps. Snake looked up and saw that there was a direct line from the balcony rail to where he was standing. Obviously, he hadn't killed Sniper Wolf, but he'd certainly winged her. Snake turned around with the intention of running back to Merrill, but his path was blocked by the sudden appearance of a dozen troopers, all fast roping down lines from the second floor, ninja style. Each man had a FAMAS assault rifle pointed at him. "Don't move!" one of the men shouted. Snake could see that these guys were the elite, the Space SEALs, the cream of the crop of genome soldiers, and they had him surrounded. "Drop your weapon, now!" He had no choice. Snake tossed the sockum to the ground. "Kick it over here!" He did so. A steel door slid open at the base, and a tall woman with an extraordinary body emerged. Her uniform fit tightly and was open at the neck to reveal magnificent cleavage. She had short blonde hair and green eyes. It was too bad she was one of the enemy. The woman was definitely a babe. The only good thing about the situation was that Sniper Wolf's left arm was in a makeshift sling, and the fabric around her shoulder was soaked in blood. "You were a fool to come here, stupid man," she said with an accent. Snake placed it as Middle Eastern and then remembered Campbell's briefing. The woman was a Kurd from Iraq. "A lady sniper," Snake said. "Who would have thought?" "Didn't you know that 2/3 of the world's greatest assassins are women?" "What happened to your shoulder? You hurt yourself?" "It's just a scratch." She licked her lips. "Do you want to die now or after your female friend? Which will it be?" "I'll die after I kill you." She laughed, mocking him. "Is that right? Well, at least you've got spirit. I am Sniper Wolf, and I always kill what I aim at. You're my special prey." She stepped closer to him. Snake was aware of her strong scent, certainly feminine, but decidedly the stuff of animalistic menace. Sniper Wolf swiftly reached out and scratched Snake's left cheek with her long, sharp nails. Blood trickled out of the wounds, but Snake didn't flinch. "I've left my mark on you," she said. "I won't forget it. Until I kill you, you're all I'll think about." She licked her lips again, and Snake felt her hot breath on his neck. She held the gaze between them for a moment longer, and then abruptly broke away. "Take him away," she commanded the troopers. Before Snake could protest, something hard and heavy struck him on the back of the head, and everything went black.